Hello, I'm Kathy Peterson, a volunteer with the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. You are watching Business Connection, a program produced by the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is committed to finding business solutions by collaborating with regional business leaders on key issues. We're so excited today. Our guest is City of Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley. Nan, such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks, Kathy. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, and we were talking before the program that I'm seeing you everywhere. You have been incredibly busy in your first 100 days of being mayor of the city of Dayton. Now, what have you accomplished in your first 100 days?
Well, you know, when I ran for the position of mayor, I said we needed a mayor that was full-time and fully committed to the job, and so we've really tried to make that a point, and have been working really hard to really work on the agenda that we talked about when we ran for mayor. And so in the first 100 days, which is coming up closely here, and we've worked to really reach out to businesses. We've had these monthly business roundtables, and sometimes twice a month, where we talk to business owners in the city of Dayton to get the understanding from them on what it means for the city to be business friendly and truly business friendly. And we've talked to over 40 business owners. That way I have personally done that. And then I've also gone and reached out to the top 25 of the top 25 city employers that have the highest number of employers, to 10 of those 25 employers already, really trying to understand what are the issues affecting their business, how they can grow, and some of the ways that the city can help. So that's taken a good chunk of time. I've also, we started the City of Learners, which we announced at the swearing in on January 6th, where Commissioner Mims and Commissioner Williams and I were sworn in, really trying to create a culture of learning throughout the city of Dayton. We know, and the Chamber's been a supporter of the Learn to Earn initiative, and that initiative shows us, and national data shows us, that 2 out of 3 jobs by 2018, just 4 years away, will require some sort of post-secondary skill, whether it be an associate's degree, a certificate, or a bachelor's degree. And we know in the county we're behind in that, and in the city we're really only at 19%. So we have a ways to go to get our workforce aligned to the jobs of really the near future tomorrow. So we've been putting listening sessions across the city. So far we've done 4 of those. We plan to have them all wrapped up by the end of May. Really listening to the community about what they think they need for their children to be successful. And we really believe that every parent wants their child to be successful, but sometimes they don't have the skills or don't have the tools they need to make that happen. And there's places where the community can help fill the gap.
You know, getting back to having the business roundtables, what are some of the things that you were hearing from businesses?
You know, I mean, we've heard everything from issues around, you know, building and lease tenants to downtown, to making sure that our community is a vibrant, you know, has feet on the street that we talk a lot about with the Greater Downtown Plan, to, you know, to some of our manufacturers. Workforce comes right back to it. We can't find the workers we need for the skills that we need for people to have. To, you know, some of them said, hey, this rough winter, can you plow right in front of my driveway so I can get the trucks in and out, right? So it's been a wide variety, but really listening to the business community about why they choose Dayton, what would make them stay in Dayton, and what was the business decision for them to be here. And I mean, at the end of the day, we know that that's what is driving their discussion. And, you know, the other piece is I've been really impressed with just the love the business community has for the city. There's just been a true commitment there, and they've been just really fantastic to me in my first 100 days.
And it's so impressive to have you sit down and talk with them, and I know how much that means to them. It's such a thoughtful process.
Thank you. They've been really great. They've been great.
Wonderful. Now, we are, you know, into April, you know, coming up on the 100 days. We'll be in May soon. You know, what are some of the key things left on your agenda that you'd like to accomplish this year?
Well, you know, I still want to continue to meet with the business community and continue on. We want to have a good fresh step on that. The City of Learners piece will be, having a report probably in June, and then activating on that in the next, within 2014 and 2015. And then we also have this work we're doing, and we actually filed yesterday with Cincinnati and Dayton working together as an Uber region. When I was first elected, the city of Cincinnati also elected a new mayor. His name's John Cranley. And so John and I met. I go to Cincinnati one day a month because I really believe that the economies of scale are what we need to pay attention to in the Dayton region. And so that requires us to connect in a more meaningful way with Cincinnati. We know Dallas, Fort Worth, the Triangle of North Carolina, even Cleveland, Akron have done, okay, here are the economies that work together for us. And again, aerospace manufacturing with us having GE at UD and they having GE Evendale and GE downtown, the connection up and down the corridor is strong. So I think it's really important that the cities are thoughtful about that. I think it's the first time really the cities have gotten involved in it. It's been happening kind of by osmosis. But I think if we're more thoughtful about that, I think we can really leverage the relationship to create more jobs in the region.
Absolutely. And you see, people that, may live here, work there, or,
Sure.
Live there and work here. So
Right.
It just makes sense.
Right, and it's, from door to door, downtown Cincinnati, downtown Dayton, it's like 50 minutes. And so it's really, I think we are very spoiled in Dayton. I'm like 1 mile from City Hall, and most of us have no commute, and so we think the rest of the world's like that. And that's really not the case. Out east, they travel an hour to get to work pretty regularly. So the Cincinnati-Dayton region is how the business community, and since we're in a global economy, is really looking at things now.
Right. I have been, just to Columbus and sitting in traffic, and
Right.
it makes me appreciate our transportation system, being able to get around so easily and quickly.
Absolutely. Yesterday we just had the chamber was there as well with the U.S. Department of Transportation. Secretary Anthony Fox was in town at the county building.
Yes.
And we were talking about the our big dig, which is the 75 redo, and how it is ahead of schedule and is saving money. But that connection for us will really put us in just fantastic position because, no other community really has such easiness and ease of travel as Dayton does, frankly.
Absolutely. Now, getting back to, you mentioned the K through 12 initiative as obviously a key initiative. K through 12 education is a key component. We talked about that with workforce development and development of a workforce pipeline for the Dayton area business community. Can you expand a little bit on your education initiative?
Sure. So again, we know that we need to redesign our workforce to make sure that we can get the jobs of the future. And we also know that there's pipeline pieces that affect how that will happen. It just doesn't happen magically when you graduate high school. So making sure our kids are kindergarten ready when they come to kindergarten, that they can be ready to learn, and making sure that our kids too can pass the 3rd grade reading guarantee. And this year the state has made a rule that if you can't read in 3rd grade, you stay in 3rd grade. And so right now in the city, that's 40% of our children are not able to go, or not ready, frankly, to go to the 4th grade. And so that's really both a crisis and an opportunity for us to really work to engage to make sure that they can learn to read, because we know from K through 3 you learn to read, and on you read to learn. And so just doing social promotion doesn't work out because you'll always be behind, especially in that 3rd grade reading guarantee. And then we also know the 9th to 10th grade transition is a huge indicator of high school success and postgraduate success. So making sure that our kids can transition well there. And then being graduating from high school, so remediation won't be needed at Sinclair or anywhere else, that you go right to Sinclair and are able to learn. We have a fantastic asset though in this community. We forget about it with Sinclair Community College. It is one of the 5 best community colleges in the country, one of the Ivy Leagues of community colleges. And their folks have done a great job and continue to do a great job to really listen to the business community, figure out what the workforce needs are, and try to adjust there. The number of certificate programs they've put in place for businesses, how they connect. But we need to make sure that the pipeline is fully connected when they get to Sinclair or Wright State or any other university that folks decide to go. But it's a great low-cost option for folks in Montgomery County and the city of Dayton.
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at, you've had the conversations with businesses, or, businesses we're trying to recruit here or retain here, they do have needs, they have jobs they need to fill, and it's making sure that our workforce is ready for those jobs.
Right. It's one of the number one pieces that businesses make decisions on now, is how's your workforce and how's your schools. It's a key component, and if we don't do, we, for example, last month, Tom Lasley from Learn to Earn and myself went to the Gates Foundation for a Common Core discussion, and there were nearly 50 mayors from across the country there. We're all in this talent pipeline. We're all trying to make sure that we have a strong talent force, because we know that's what's going to create jobs and create the long-term quality of life that we want for our folks and our citizens. And so if we don't have that, we won't be successful. Now, it's hard. I mean, I am the first mayor ever to touch education, and I think the past history has been, well, if, the schools or the school boards or Sinclair's problem, we do the hard services of police, fire, and safety, and public works, but they are connected. And Commissioner Mims always says, I don't know a strong city without a strong school system, and there's no strong school system that's not a strong city. So we have to be honest about how we connect and really work to support each other. And
we've seen such strong partnerships. You mentioned Learn to Earn, Ready, Set, Soar, the STEM schools. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So, I think that the Learn to Earn alignment has done great work here. And so that was really easy for us to enter in with City of Learners, because we already had, community, the schools reporting out what the numbers are for these initiatives. And then it allows us to really adopt best practices to really change and move the needle on these efforts and to show it. So we don't have to recreate the wheel in any way. We can definitely use the framework that's been put across countywide and have the city sit on that. Now the city, Learn to Earn will be really honest, they will not move county numbers without the center core making a movement. So it's really important that they're connected and aligned, and we've made sure of that. But that's been, I think, the really nice thing about it is, I was on the Learn to Earn Executive Committee as a city commissioner. This seems, I understand the issue and understand what we need to do.
Yes, and I know that there are so many organizations or businesses that are getting involved with the Learn to Earn. Montgomery County now has a big team of volunteers that actually go out and read to kids in the Northridge School District.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm actually one of them, and it is so exciting to see the kids just light up, when you talk about the books, and it gets them so involved. So, I appreciate your efforts and the partnerships that you're creating too, because it is so important.
That's great. And we have every week at the commission meeting as well, we have we call an education moment where we present something going on in the community where people are working to create a city of learners. And so that's been fantastic too. And it's changed the nature of the city commission meetings a bit. The commissioners have been really engaged. Everyone from Cleveland School to Thurgood Marshall School to College Promise, the people that volunteer every week with a student from 9 through 12 to get them ready for college. And if they go through those agreements and work with their mentor, they get free education. So the College Promise is another one that came. All of these different initiatives that are all aligned to the Learn to Earn effort we have come through the city, that if people are doing work in the city. So that's been fun too, to give credit and recognize some of the great work that's going on in our community already.
And because there is so much great work, we don't always hear about it, on the news, but you want people to know about it and be excited about it.
Right, and it's important, I think, for even the City Commission to know about it too. So these have been really fantastic.
Definitely, and keep it moving forward. That is very exciting. The Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce represents 2,900 businesses, which represent 200,000 employees. 20% of those businesses located right within the City of Dayton limits. What are some of the strategic initiatives that you and your economic development team are going to be working on to keep and attract businesses to the City of Dayton? We've talked about it a little bit, but what are some of the other things you're looking at?
So yeah, we do have a grow, retain, attract, champion model. The retaining, talking to our businesses, understanding what their needs are going in the next 5 to 10 years is something that we're doing every day, and having those conversations. The mayor's role, I think, is to really create the relationship, and so I've been very thoughtful about that. The city staff has done a really great job of, making sure that we offer the right programs and try to think and listen to what the needs of businesses are. So we'll continue to do that work, and the business roundtables are a key part of that. Visiting with downtown businesses that are making decision on leasing options is something else that we partner with the Downtown Dayton Partnership on, and the Dayton Development Coalition. So making sure that we continue to do that in the city. The attract model, I think, is really a regional effort, and so we play with the Dayton Development Coalition as well as the Chamber in that effort around our assets, right? So like our water is a huge asset for businesses that use a lot of water, like software companies, or soft drink. They all have the word soft in them, soft drink or breweries. And so we, this past couple years, what we did is we actually went to Southwestern America where there is no water, and went to some of these conferences where they have high water uses, and started to make them think about Dayton. It's a long-term strategy, but we've targeted around 150 companies and CEOs to have that conversation. Now, there's other decisions that they make their mind up, just like any other business, but we know that there will be water shortages across the country, and we want to be poised to be able to capitalize on that. And so I think that's what we do to attract. Also, being an aerospace and innovation hub is key for us, and our connection to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. The example of us with Cincinnati, we are doing a grant with Cincinnati and the Dayton Development Coalition and the Cincinnati Chamber around aerospace manufacturing, which fits right into what we do well. Making sure that we can really, grow jobs in manufacturing, specifically aerospace. We see that with National Composite Center in Kettering. Again, we know if the region does well, the city will do well too, that we're poised. But over the past decade, we've seen really no regional growth. And so if you don't have any regional growth, and you have a lot of buildings being built out across the region, but the same number of jobs, less people, you're going to have an issue in the core. So we need to support together the whole region, and then the region's been really, needs to be supportive of the core, and I've seen that happen.
And we have so many assets within the downtown core.
Oh, right.
And we're seeing that too with some of the development on Water Street.
Oh, yeah. The Water Street development's a great example where, really, we have the Greater Downtown Plan that we've worked in partnership with Mike Irvin and the Downtown Dayton Partnership, really this live, learn, work, play environment. And the Water Street development is right near the ball field. We've been talking about it for a decade. They broke ground 2 weeks ago, where they'll have an office space, because we know we need type Class A office space in the downtown core, because we're losing, frankly, businesses want high quality office space, and so we have to offer new product as well as the older interesting product. And then also a parking garage and 160 plus market rate apartments. Those market rate apartments are key because it helps get what we call the feet on the street again, and that's the vibrancy that businesses want. So it's all connected in growing jobs in downtown. The other point I like to make about downtown is, we have doubled the number of downtown residents since the beginning of the work on housing, which is a great improvement, and we'll continue to see that, I think, grow exponentially with the risks that Charlie Sims and the Water Street developers have done. We're starting to see a lot more interest in downtown housing. Downtown housing's at 97% occupancy. It's where people want to live, and we are working to provide the amenities at the same time. So that fits together, because we know it will grow our jobs and business core there. So it's very exciting what's happening downtown. The other thing I love about it is, the city of Dayton fights out of class, I like to say, because when we're comparing our downtown, we compare it to the 3 Cs, which I love, but they are much larger regions and much larger cities. So yeah, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland, I'm glad that the community compares, that they want the greatness of those very large regions. The city of Columbus alone is 800,000 people. We're 140. So I think that's great. And our downtown is, very large in comparison to other cities and regions our size. And so I think that says a lot about our community and its love of the core, and that it's invested and worked to create assets in the core like that over the past 20, 30 years. Our job is to make sure that we protect what we can protect, grow, redevelop, and make sure that it's still viable in the next 20 years, like the people 20 years ago did.
Oh, yes. And you see that any of the, residential areas that they're developing downtown, the sold signs go up so quickly. People want to live downtown.
Oh yeah, downtown living, I think, is just easy. I mean, number one, I think, and people they like the easiness of it, and they like the vibrancy and uniqueness of it, right? So nowhere else can you have stores like So Dayton, American Pie, the unique restaurants and businesses of small business owners in the downtown area. For the first time in 40 years, we saw the number of retail space in downtown increase last year because we're seeing small businesses wanting to open retail space downtown. And then also last December, for the first time I think in 40 years, we actually had the most number of housing starts in the city of Dayton in the region. So I mean that's mostly due to downtown's housing issues.
Oh, absolutely, and we're seeing the student housing development there too.
Yeah.
So it's really coming together.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. We're really excited about it.
There sure is. You know, we touched a little bit on transportation. I know the chamber very supportive of the transportation issues around I-75. What are some of the other transportation issues that you see are important to the downtown?
Well, you know, just last month we announced bike share in downtown, which is one of the things that we've been studying for a few years to see if we had the density to make that happen. Other mid-sized cities like Chattanooga is one of the examples that have also, Madison, Wisconsin, have done bike share. And so we think we're right and the density's right for us to move forward on it, and we'll be doing that next year. You know, the RTA is a great hybrid partner in that they're making they call it the last mile connection. So really there'll be about probably 20 stations from the Dayton Art Institute south to the University of Dayton, east to St. Anne's, and west to Wright Dunbar. That area to make sure that we can connect to bikes. And so we know that people use different modes of transportation than just cars, and that our millennial generation is more interested in that. And again, it goes back to how we want more vibrancy and more feet on the street. So that's a great opportunity with bike share. You know, I think there's going to be lots more discussions too on how we connect the whole area in downtown with public transportation. And I think that's really key for the city as well. The other piece is the city also runs the Dayton International Airport, and so you know I tell everyone, including my friends in Cincinnati, that it's the only airport in Southwest Ohio, and it's also the cheapest one for the region. If you compare Indianapolis, the airport in Kentucky, and Columbus, like you know, it does have really